Hey there everybody, welcome back to Potter on the Water. This week we're up in Britt, Ontario, which is on the east shore of Georgian Bay, about 3/4 of the way up, just south of Sudbury, and black flies are out. Anyway, we're going to be out here for a week. We're just waiting on some more of the guys to show up, and we should be getting on the water first thing tomorrow. So it's bedtime here, and we're car camping. Kind of right out on the edge of town, and the lights you see there are the heliport, and they use this as a base for different operations. It was a big forest fire up here a few years back, and this is where they were all set up. But the weird thing is, right across you can see those other little lights, and that's actually a little graveyard, and on each of the gravestones there's a little torch, and I guess they're gas operated and they burn all the time. And anyway, it looks kind of creepy, a little bit Scooby-Doo or something. Anyway, time to get some sleep.
Oh, good morning. That was kind of a bit of a rough night. I slept in the truck last night. It was pouring rain, and I didn't want to have to take all the mast and everything off the back of the boat to get inside. So I slept in the truck, and it was kind of cold. I didn't have my blankets or anything in here. Anyway, so I ended up turning the truck on for a little while. I hope I didn't gas Brian and wreck next to me here, but anyway, I fell asleep with the heat on full blast, and I woke up and I was just sweating like a pig. Anyway, that's the way it goes. But looks like a nice morning here right now. The sun is out. Let's see if I can flip it around and show you there. And yeah, so hopefully this sticks around, because it's been raining here for a couple of days straight. Anyway, gonna get a little bit more awake here, see if I can grab a coffee and look at getting the boat rigged and launched.
Alrighty folks, we're on our way. It's kind of a great morning here, but not too bad. We just got away about 11 o'clock here, and we're just heading up the river on our way out to the bay. So this is Rick, and he's got a chugger. This was my old boat, and anyway, he's got it now, and he's done a fancy paint job on it there. And look at his big fancy umbrella. He's set for sunshine or rain, ready to roll. All right, and here we have our long-standing member, Brian. And Brian has the closest boat to dinghy length ratio of anybody I've ever seen. I think the boat's 12 or 13 feet long, and the dinghy's 8 feet long. So he loves to row around and visit everybody at the anchorages. He's got his keel boat there. This way he can get right up on the beach. So there's another marina just down from where we launch, and this is now owned. They're both owned by the same people. Both run a really good operation, and if you look closely there, you can see there's one of the Coast Guard rescue boats just going in. There's a Coast Guard station just off the point here. You might be able to see it as we come out into the bay, but these guys are always close by and keeping an eye on things, which is great. So this little boat started its life off as a sailboat. It belonged to one of our other members, Peter. And anyways, it's made the rounds, and Frank has just turned it into a cool little mini trawler. This one was actually written up in Small Craft Advisor probably a couple years ago now, I guess, but it's such a cool looking little thing. He's got it all set up, and he bakes bread in there. He's got a little special oven set up for it, but isn't it cool? What a great looking hull for this. He did an excellent job. This is such a great area here. You know, on one side of this river, there's hardly any cottages or any kind of little homes or anything. And on the other side, there are a few here. Some nice new ones that are just being built. Look at this one, fancy water slide going down. Kids will love that. Really good fishing up in this area as well. They have a big pickerel tournament, bass tournaments, muskies, just about everything here. I remember we were coming down here one year, and there was a couple standing on the shore, and the lady had a muskie, and it was massive. She had trouble just holding it up off the ground. She was quite excited. We were all waving to her. So we got about probably about an hour or so. It's about 4 miles, 5 miles or so to get out to the open water. Well, welcome to Redneck Sailing here with your old buddy Kelly. Look at this now. How you like my new homemade bimini top I got going here? It's just a nice old piece of life jacket. Couple of spring clamps from Canadian Tire there. Clamp her right on, and look at the peak on that baby. We got no rain in our face. I got the sunglasses on. Follow me for more helpful tips. So now it's really starting to look a lot more like Georgian Bay with the sloped rocks and the bent pine trees. This is a little spot where we used to stop, just a little cove, kind of like the last stop for gas kind of thing. And so we would normally go in there back when we were running our 2-strokes and top them up. And I made that mistake once was enough. I went by it, got all the way out there, and just beyond the end of this little river here, and of course the engine ran out of gas. So anyway, we're good so far, and looks like Frank went the opposite way. There's a fork in the river there, and he took the left and we took the right, so we'll meet him here pretty soon. All right, so now we're kind of out more in the open part of the bay, as you can see here. No land in sight out that way. And I remember coming across here a few years back now, and I was in a CL16, which is basically a Wayfarer, and it was blowing. And we came across here, and the wind was on the beam basically, and the boat was just flying. I was going off the top of one wave and then right into the next one. I got soaked. I could have got into a shower with all my clothes on and come out drier. But anyways, it was quite the ride all the way over. So we're just heading kind of north here now, northwest, and over to one of our favorite spots at Cunningham Cove. All right, so we cut our way through all the channels and stuff. It is a minefield out there. But you can see, if you look real close, you can see Zeev's boat. He's already in there in the catamaran. It's got an inflatable catamaran. It's kind of a cool boat. But they're up on the rock over there. We've got to make our way. You can't get through in that area. It looks like you can, but you can't. We're going to have to go straight ahead to where those geese are and kind of pick our way in behind. It's a little bit of a minefield, so I'm going to shut this off now so you don't see me when I run up on a rock. All right, so here's the trick. You circle back, have a little chat with your friends, and then you follow the guy with the keel boat. It's really turned into a beautiful day here now. We're just making our way in. And you can see on the rocks all the different water levels. We've come in here some years when the water level's high, and you come sailing in and you can see the fire rings underneath the water. When the water was low, guys come here, they put the rocks in a big circle, they make their fire, and then the next year, 2 years later, whatever, you're sailing right over top of where the fire was. All right, so we kind of stay down the middle here, and then we got to go left. I'm not sure if it shows up or not on the video, but there's a great big honking rock that comes out here. You can see it's sort of the lighter color on the water. Stay to my left here, where it's a little bit darker. But you can see Brian off in the distance. He's doing the hoochie coochie back and forth, trying to miss the rocks here. I came in here with my Alberg 22 one time, but the water was a bit higher than it is this year. It's a bit low this year. So you can see more rocks over here. All right, so we made it in without too many big casualties there, getting through all the rocks. Like I say, it was a bit of a minefield getting through there. As long as you get a little bit of sunshine, you can see the rocks. But man, when it gets dark and gloomy, it gets a little dicey sometimes. But anyway, this is the little cove where we're at. It's one of our favorite spots, and there's Frank and Brian and Rick's off in the distance there. And I'll spin you around here and you can have a look at the shore and you'll see Zeev's boat. He's got a really cool looking catamaran, and this boat is a inflatable, and it's got a really neat tent on it. And he goes out with a fairly large crews of people, but he's got the family with him, and they're going to be camping on shore. And you can see it's a really nice spot here for camping, and not too many bears in this area out on the island, so it's a pretty good spot overall. So it seems I brought at least one extra shoe, so that might come in handy later. And inside I keep the fantastic Can-Am burgee that Brian put together for us. Isn't that nice? I got one up there hanging up already, ready to roll. So I'll let you know how the shoe works out. Well, got through my lunch and it started raining again. Not real heavy, but I thought I'll try out my new little boom tent here, and it's working pretty good, I must say. I got my little tent poles there. It's kind of hard to see from inside, but anyway, you can see it's got the little flaps here on the bottom, so it actually lets a little bit of air in, which is kind of nice. And I got some air flowing through from there, and I can open up the other end where the door is and let a little air flow straight through. So I'd say success so far. So we got some dark clouds there. We're in for some rain, I think. The radar screen is just red right now. Looks like it's really going to come down. So the wind swung around about 90 degrees just like that. And visibility dropped down to not very much. We used to be able to see the windmills over on the shore, and they've kind of all disappeared now. Anyway, no huge winds at this point, which is good. Let's hope it stays that way. All right, tonight's dinner, we've got a fabulous display here. Smoked oysters and rice and a can of alcohol-free beer. We are off to the races, my friend. So the storm finally ended, and it's actually turned out quite nice out here now. You can see sun's getting a little bit low, and yeah, things have been working out pretty good, other than the fact that my sunscreen exploded inside one of my dry bags. I'm like, what's all that inside the dry bag? Yeah, it was sunscreen everywhere. Oh, well, at least I don't have to worry about my shoes getting sunburned now. We're just enjoying a nice quiet night here. Rain stopped. Guys are just chatting from boat to boat. Hey there, everybody. So we had a pretty rainy night overall, but it wasn't like really bad thunderstorms or anything, just kind of off and on rain. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was the stillest, calmest, quietest night I think I've ever had in my life. It was just great. The boat was just dead still the whole night. Anyway, we're off to meet up with some friends now, just at a different anchorage, because one of the guys is bringing in an Albert 22, and it's got a little bit more draft. We had trouble getting out just in these boats with the swing keels. I managed to hit the rudder coming out, and the centerboard was dragging a bit, and I didn't even have it all the way down. So anyway, that's what we're about. We're going to swing over to this other little anchorage, just not far away, and meet up with the other guys over there. Alrighty, folks, we made it in without too many bumps and scrapes. And this is what we call lily pad cove. Now there's no lily pads in here right now, but come in here in the fall and it is covered in lily pads. You see lots of turtles, snapping turtles and painted turtles in here, but it's a beautiful little hideaway. And I don't know if you can see how shallow the water is here. It's literally about 2 feet deep, 2.5 feet deep. So our buddy in the Alberg, he's gonna have to anchor out a little bit further. Anyway, time for some lunch. Well, the rest of the guys are showing up. There's Hugh, and Eric's out in the deeper part out there as well. Alrighty folks, here we go. It's coming up on 9 o'clock and it's time to get out on the water. We have got a beautiful morning here. Look at this, a little bit of breeze kicking in after a couple of days of rain. And we had a good night, heavy dew on the boats this morning. Good thing I had the tent up, kept everything nice and dry. So you can tell this is a low water year when the beaver lodge is out of the water. Poor old beaver built his lodge there on a high water year and wondered where all the water went. Anyways, he's probably built himself another one now. Look at how beautiful this is. There's nothing around for miles. All right, got a little rowing to get going here today. Beautiful day like this. We're just gonna take it nice and slow, head down this little channel and make our way out to the more open water. The thunderstorm we were supposed to have never showed up last night, which was good. It just missed us to the east, and we actually got one little sprinkle, and that was about it. So it was a great night. Nothing but blue sky here right now. These little potters actually row really well. I'm surprised. This one came with the oarlocks already mounted in it directly from the factory. The original owner just ordered it that way, but I really enjoy it for this kind of stuff here, especially if there's lots of rocks around and you don't want to risk your motor. It's nice to just put a little bit of centerboard down and hit the oars. So you can see here, being a low water year, that rock is actually just a little bit out of the water. But you come into these places when the water's up a little bit, and something like that would be hidden. And especially if there's no sunshine, man, it's a little crazy, a little hard on the propellers and the centerboards and keels and such. So a really light wind here, which is okay because we got to motor through these channels anyway. But you can kind of see the rock and the way that it is here. It's really sloped into the water, and there are tons of them everywhere. So it's sort of rocks and trees, trees and rocks. We finally got a bit of wind here. Just beautiful. Sailing along. Brian's off on the one side there. Just a gorgeous day. Just warm enough and enough wind. Probably just shy of 10 knots of wind here. A bit of splish splash going on. So it's lunchtime on the good ship Dobby here. Having a little sandwich. The other guys motored ahead. They're going to anchor and just have a little bit of lunch in a little cove just up here, but it's too nice. I decided to just keep sailing and have some lunch on the go. It's just such a gorgeous day. I can't get over it. I think I'm appreciating it more after so much rain and dreariness the last few days, so it's great to be sailing. So this is the kind of beautiful sailing we get to do up here. It is just gorgeous. Little Potter's just ghosting along here. So you can see here how the rocks just kind of come up out of the depths. And so you really got to watch. And a lot of these parts that we're going into are not sounded, so we're not really sure how deep they are. So yeah, it's a great spot for centerboards and kick up rudders. We've been into this one a couple of times, so it's a nice little hidey hole for when the wind picks up and the weather turns bad. And here's what our little cove looks like. Like a little pool with some jibbing. Really nice rocks here. You could get in there and camp if you wanted to. Frank's in his little trawler here. I did some delivery earlier of some bread that Dee made for us. She always makes some kind of a cake or something. And so I was delivering that, pulled right up to Frank's window, and it was just like going through the McDonald's drive-thru. All right, wind has piped up. We are officially sailing along here in a nice wind now. It's got to be about 10 to gusting, maybe 15 at points. A few little whitecaps starting to show up. And yeah, we're heading over to the Bustard Islands, which are way off in the distance over there. We've got to pick our way through the rock fields here. And yeah, there's a mark just off to the left there. You'll see maybe green mark. We get around that one, and then yeah, we got pretty much a straight shot over to the island. I was sailing along and I came across a half submerged mark in the water, one of the green ones. Kind of freaked me out because I wasn't sure it wasn't supposed to be there. So anyway, I'll have to report it, but it's a little splashier out here. This, my friends, is some primo early season sailing conditions. Just humming out here. So this is our little spot for tonight. We've all just cooked our dinner, had our little snack. And now it's relaxing time. Do, looking out my back door. Not a bad view, eh? So this is sort of an iconic type of tree up here. These are the pine trees, and in Georgian Bay, they all kind of look like this. They're all bent from the wind, and they seem to grow right out of sheer rock. I don't know how they do it, or how there's enough dirt under them to even cling to, but they seem to. Just you go by these big rock islands and there's trees growing out of it. It makes you kind of laugh when you see the you know, some plants, oh, needs such and such a kind of water and certain nutrients and phosphate levels and all this stuff. Meanwhile, tree up here, it's like rock. Yeah, this is my spot. Well, good morning, everybody. Had a pretty good night last night. It was a little bit warmer, so I was able to leave the hatch open here and just put up the boom tent and let the air flow through. It was beautiful. Man, did I sleep like a log last night. Take a look at this nice little cove we're in. Isn't that nice? It's just like a mill pond in here right now, so we're hoping for a bit more wind later on. Not exactly sure what the plan for today is, but anyway, whatever we get up to, it's gonna be fun. Time for a little coffee here. Woo! Drinking left-handed with a right-handed cup. What the hell's the story? I gotta wake up some more. Need another coffee. So we're cruising along the north side of the Bustard Islands here, and there's a shipwreck here called the Coral. It's an old schooner, so we're going to swing over there and have a look, see if we can see anything. So we're just coming up on the spot where the shipwreck is. We came in here once before, but the water was higher and we couldn't see too much. So Brian's a real historian and he studies all this kind of stuff, shipwrecks and ghost towns and all that. So he knows the history of the area really well. This used to be a really big logging area, and there were huge settlements up here, and they've just disappeared completely. But you still see the old chimneys and all that kind of stuff sticking up out of the woods where it's all overgrown. Well, no luck on the coral. Looks like it might have gotten all washed away. But more importantly, what do you think of this fancy new sailing sombrero I got? Isn't that the cat's ass? Whew! Baby. I actually call these offshore hats because I don't usually wear it until I'm well offshore. But actually, it's a pretty good hat. Look at that. Keeps the neck all covered up there. Huh. Awesome. And that's the kind of rock that just pops up out of nowhere. Look at this thing. So here's the fancy little bimini that I use. It's a couple of spring clamps with an umbrella. Just clamp it onto my main sheet and away we go. All right, lunchtime. We got a can of the chef's finest here. Chef Boyardee ravioli, baby. Look at that. Good. That's Campbell soup, but whatever. Anyway, here's a shot around our little lunch anchorage. We just dropped the hook here. Yep. And the wind is building. All right, we are sailing again. Wind is filled in just nicely. Kind of light, but nice enough for sailing, and enough of that outboard. Holy smokes, we had no wind this morning again, so it was all motoring in the canals, which is fun, like not canals, but on the small craft route, basically. And it's nice back there. It's all little coves and twisty turny stuff, and it's great to get back there. But man, when the wind's blowing, I don't want that outboard on. So away we go. Eric and I are going to sail back on the outside, and a couple of the other guys are going to go back on the inside on the small craft route. And yeah, and then we're going to meet up, I think, over at Henvey tonight, and we'll probably anchor there for the evening, and then we'll head further south tomorrow, and yeah, and then we'll see what that brings. That is some wide open blue. Look at that. So we're kind of short tacking back and forth here. There's almost like little hallways that you can short tack in between the rocks, and so we're just kind of keeping our eye on the GPS here best we can, and yeah, kind of hoping for the best. It's just one of those gorgeous days though, where the sun is just glistening off the water. You know, it looks like diamonds. It's beautiful. There you go. Just a gorgeous shot of the water. It looks like there's another sunken mark out there. You probably can't see it, but there's supposed to be a red mark out there, and I can just see the top of it. And there goes Eric, just on the inside of those islands there. We're going to be cutting through. We've got to do a little dipsy-doodle through these islands, and then we'll meet up with the guys over by where those windmills are. Well, good morning, everybody. It's day 5 here on the Potter. I think it's Wednesday today, and we are just tucked into this beautiful little cove for the night. And Eric left this morning. I heard him pulling up the anchor this morning about 6 o'clock. He had to get going back. His soccer game for his son that he needs to be at. So anyway, he's on his way. We're down to myself and Frank, Brian, Eric, and Hugh. And so we're just having some breakfast here, and then we'll be getting underway. It looks like a nice day. Sunny, not much wind yet. It's only about 8 o'clock though, so we'll see what happens. Breakfast time here, and I just wanted to show you this little stove setup I got. And I've shown this on a previous video, but
I just wanted to mention how good it seems that the fuel use is on these little isobutane canisters. I've been using this since the trip we did last fall to Thousand Islands. I used it at Penetang in the fall. I think I used it at anyway. I'm on like probably my third or fourth trip with this on this same canister. Now it's almost empty, but it's pretty shocking. And the little stove works really well. And I have its little brother right here as a backup. This one's a little bit different. It just hooks right to the top of the canister. Just pops right on there like that. Now this stove also came with, if you haven't seen the other video, a little adapter. And so I can use the stove with this isobutane stuff or the regular green bottles of propane, which are considerably cheaper and tend to work a little bit better when it's cold. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. But it's nice to have this extra little burner, I figure, in case this one ever dies or if I ever get fancy and cook a 2-course meal.
Well, we've been blessed with another beautiful day here. Unfortunately, there's no wind, so not much in the way of sailing going to happen here, at least this morning. But that's okay. We're just buzzing along, enjoying the day. Got my cup of coffee with me here, and yeah, just going to enjoy the sunshine. You can see all those windmills there off in the distance. They only put those in about 2018, I think, is when they started. And I remember that because we were here when they were starting to put it in. And this is a native reserve here. And we're at Henvey Inlet, and this is the Henvey Reserve. And we were up the inlet there, and we were all anchored in our cozy little spot for the evening. And all of a sudden, I went down below to make some dinner or whatever, and I heard this sort of a pop sound, and I poked my head up and I looked over to the north, and I could see this black plume of smoke come up. And I yelled over to my buddy there, Brian, and I said, "Oh, that doesn't look good." And it was a really, really dry year. Anyway, within no time, it had turned into a fire, and you could really see it burning. So one of our other buddies that was with us, Dante, he called it into the Coast Guard station just over here. And then I guess they called it into the ministry. And within about half an hour, there were 2 water bombers on it. And I mean, it was like literally they were landing right in front of us, scooping up the water and dropping it on the fire. And then there was CL-415 on it, one of those great big flying boat water bombers. I think it came down from the Soo. And they were on that for hours and until actually after dark. And anyway, we were a bit nervous because we thought if the fire jumped the inlet, it's just basically almost like a river kind of a thing. And if it jumped that, we'd have got caught up this inlet and no way out. We would have had to hike it out to the highway through the bush, which didn't sound very appealing to me. Anyway, the wind cooperated, and we were able to get out of there. We got up first thing early the next morning and got out, but man, it turned into a massive forest fire, and it burned all the way up around Key Harbor, Key River there, and around the north side, the north shore of Georgian Bay. It lasted for over a month. They had to end up closing the mines a couple of times because there was so much smoke that they couldn't ventilate the mines for the guys working underground. So anyway, we had a good air show. That was about the only good thing that came out of it.